Hello again everyone. Today we find ourselves in line doing next to last set Y. So without further ado, let's get started. This is the 3-line set, so we'll just blow through this fairly quickly. Now, during this particular video, I will be discussing the idea of, if I can find my notes here, TCGs. And basically when I actually first got started playing trading card games was back in, I think the earliest 21st century when the big three were out there. And by the big three I mean Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering were technically very popular at that point. The Pokemon trading card game and Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of fallen off a little bit in popularity. They still can be seen around every so often, but they didn't quite hold on to popularity near as much as Magic the Gathering did. So Magic the Gathering stays a little bit more as that real popular trading card game that people play still. But that's kind of how I got started in doing trading card game, playing a few trading card games. It was, I think the first one I actually started playing was Yu-Gi-Oh! I started off with actually Spellcaster deck, and kind of played a little bit of that. I mean, it got to a situation where it was I played it simply because it was what the friends had, and that's a lot of times what you'd see with those kind of trading card games in that situation is just what did your friends have and what did they play. So you typically saw that more along the lines of rather than necessarily the games being whatever people like more, just rather, okay, what can I play because this is what my friends have. So eventually just kind of moved into Magic the Gathering because again that's what the people I knew had at that time as well. So I transitioned into that part, and I particularly enjoy playing blue and green. Not really blue in the typical standpoint that you usually see, which is the control kind of deck that you do weight or that kind of thing, but more the combo-oriented blue decks that use a lot of combinations between cards. Like my first deck that I actually owned and had was a Merfolk deck that took a lot of building before it actually came to full fruition. It was basically just like it took a basic structure pack is what it started out as, and eventually it kind of morphed into the full Merfolk mill deck with the combinations of like Drowner Secrets, Merfolk Thaumaturgist, all different cards like that were. I mean, basically the entire point of it was I tapped Merfolk, I mill one card from your deck, and by mill I mean you take the top card from your library and put it in the graveyard. Is how mill is referred to. There's a lot, just different like combo decks. Although the first deck I actually played was a friend's deck that was an elf deck, so that got me into playing green a little bit. So those are really the two colors that I tend to play a lot when I play Magic, is either blue or green. I haven't really delved much into like playing black or anything of that nature. I mean, I have decks of pretty much every single color. It's just I typically end up preferring blue or green. But anyways, that's the TCGs that were really common around the time of the 21st century. The thing with trading card games online at that time was there really wasn't a lot of people paying money online for trading cards, because it'd be a situation necessarily where it was kind of before the era where online shopping was a little bit more secure. It's still kind of the point where you couldn't really necessarily trust it as much as you can now. I mean, still there's inherent risks in shopping online and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually a lot less than it used to be in terms of the different technologies that have arisen since that time. So you see a lot more online trading card games come into play. And the reason for that, again, is simply because trading card games by nature are very pay to win. The games are really determined by, do you have the best cards? And that's really the only way you can go about it, is saying, okay, I have better cards than you, I'm probably going to win. Or I have a better deck than you, I'm probably going to win. So it became a situation where, because the online market couldn't really support that, then it became a situation where you don't really have that come into play as much. So the online trading card games didn't really have much say other than like Magic the Gathering Online or instances of games that were already in existence in terms of in real card format, physical cards. But as you get into more of the fact where SSL, Secure Soccer Player, and different technologies like that come into play, where they can make online shopping a little bit more secure from the standpoint of encryption and all that kind of stuff. When you start seeing the online trading card games really start to expand and come into play a little bit more, because now the market can support that kind of format. There we go. So it's because that technology started coming to play, the online trading card games really started to explode in popularity around the late decade of the 2000s. So I mean, that's still going on right now, because those trading card games are very profitable, simply because it's a situation where people are going to pay a lot of money in order to do those cards. So it's rather than have a single flat-based transaction for the game, you would run into situations where, even though you're having a smaller majority of the population of the game paying for things, because most of these online trading card games are free to play, but you have to normally buy buy your card decks, even though you can get some for free. So that standpoint of having something that's very easy to run as a pay-to-play market, because of the nature of the trading card games, and you see a lot more games incorporating that thing right now. Obviously, one of the most popular trading card games that is recently out is Hearthstone, released by Blizzard. So they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon of that trading card game market kind of thing, where it's a situation where, because people are so much more likely to spend money online nowadays, just by whatever, in terms of whatever they want to pay for, and from the standpoint of using their money, and they don't have to worry necessarily about some of the concerns that were so prevalent in the past with the security of online shopping. So you see a little bit more moving towards that kind of thing. So you also don't have to worry about the quality of the cards, or needing to haul around all these different physical cards, but rather your collection of decks or whatever is in an electronic format. So even again, while there still be purists that prefer the feel of a physical card, some people like having just the not having to worry about losing cards or things like that. So all these changes really just helped increase the popularity of trading card games as an online media, from a standpoint of really getting that marketplace going, and getting the online trading card game genre often running, to be honest. And it's gotten so much to a point where, because that pay to win and necessarily a free to play thing, but you pay for in-game content, because that has garnered so much revenue, not just for trading card games, but for any game, like even League of Legends, that has that free-to-play mantra, but it's still a play marketplace for just like skins or different things like that. A lot more games are incorporating that, because rather than kind of lock yourself into a situation where a player plays a flat fee for a game the first time, and you don't get any more money out of that player. Instead, you kind of make it a situation where you make your game free to play, and then people pay for content, pay to win, different things like that. You want to actually generate more money. So you see a lot more people, a lot more games starting to lean in towards that favor, and that's something that people don't really that's something that competitive players really don't like that much, because it's a situation where, okay, whoever wins is the one that spends the most money, even though that's the way trading card games have necessarily always been. But you get to but you still get to a situation where that's the most profitable way to run their games for those kind of companies, especially specifically smaller companies. Obviously, with League of Legends as a MOBA, you're not going to be able to have that easy way to generate that much interest in your game and generate that much profit without having a very good game and a very large following. But still, the trading card game format with a pay-to-win is easier for a lot of smaller companies to run and still have a very profitable way of running their games that can generate the needed profit to sustain their whatever they need for their budget. And that is not just constricted to trading card games by themselves. A lot of games are really starting to incorporate that kind of market and that kind of theme into the games, even if it's not an actual trading card game. And a couple examples of this are Hearthstone, not Hearthstone, Battleforge, which is a game actually made by EA, I believe, and one of the EA studios, wherever subdivision of EA runs it. But that's one of them, and then there's also Pax Nora, which is also not really a trading card game, but has those kind of elements to it. And they're both strategy games. Battleforge is really an RTS, real-time strategy game, similar to like Age of Empires, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, games like that. It's not quite as complex or in-depth as those, but the basic genre of the game is the same. It just incorporates the idea of whatever units you're summoning, you have to first unlock through getting those cards. And Pax Nora is the same kind of thing, only it's turn-based strategy instead of real-time strategy. But anyways, there is set Y, and I will see you next time for the final set in line. That's right, next time will be set Z, and then we'll be done. So I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.